Welcome to the IBM i2 Advanced Phishing Threat Hunting demonstration. This demonstration will showcase the threat hunting capabilities of i2 Enterprise Insight Analysis. This example will be based around looking for advanced phishing attack, a very common way adversaries get on a network and persist. The basic construct of EIA contains ability to import data from a variety of sources, transform it into an entity link property format, and make it usable for the analyst. I2 EIA can be constructed in a variety of ways to apply to specific use cases. In this setup for threat hunting, we have collected a series of network traffic via data flow. We have placed sensors in a network to monitor all ports. Then using QRadar Incident Forensics and BRO, a network traffic analyzer, we send a summarized traffic version to EIA. This essentially wraps together data into sessions under a BRO unique identifier, sort of like a hash. This is automatically fed into i2 in this format and stored in the repository for later use for searching by analysts. Essentially, BRO is taking in a series of network data traffic and putting it into a variety of sessions. Here we see the i2 interface. The analyst can use the i2 interface to pull up the sessions of emails that have been saved and extract it into our repository. For this, let's use a saved query that's going to pull up all the emails in a repository. Now we can see how the emails are modeled. We can see certain entities extracted from those sessions might include an email event. For example, person A emails person B. The email sessions may contain important data such as byte size of the actual email, URLs, email addresses, and attachments. The silver diamond icon represents the BRO unique identifier, which tells us what the email is at a high level. Here we can see the emails are modeled out, so all the important entities are connected to the diamond identifier. The BRO unique identifier is a bit like a hash, or a unique series of numbers and letters that allow us to identify each individual session and discover all entities related to it. We can see that each of the events connected to the diamond represent a specific email activity, and we can see how each of the items are connected. In this example, we can see the user Carolyn has emailed several individuals within this network. We can see here that 3 separate emails of similar type with the same matching byte size, URL, and subject were sent to these 2 users. You can see 3 events chained by all the similar entities, and the unique BRO identifiers are sent to the users. Now let's look for phishing events. When looking for phishing emails, we can make the assumption that these are the first time seen events. A good email phishing adversary will modify their methods over time as to not repeat patterns. So in order to search for emails, we have the characteristics of email phishing saved in a query within i2. This query here shows how you can ask a complex question about your dataset. Do so consistently and then modify or adjust that over time as the adversary changes. Here we are asking, show me all the instances of email events where the source email destination equals 1. Then show me the associated unique session containing the subject, domain, any URL or file contained within. The unique identifier is what holds these events together. This type of query is known as a visual query and can be drawn by an analyst using graphics and not having any skills of a data scientist. It looks like I do receive a number of events meeting this query, and I add them to my chart. Looks like I have 2 email addresses here that have sent a chain of emails. One info@evildomain.com and the other bot@evildomain.com, sent from separate email accounts to the same 3 individuals in my network, those being Jane Freeman, Martin Pierce, and Timothy Gibson. If this is really a phishing attack, I am looking for the possibility that these 3 people were targeted together, perhaps at some type of conference or associated on social media. Now that I have arrayed and saw my initial findings and understand that there's potentially 3 separate email events I need to look at, I want to now expand my investigation. We see common factors in our email analysis, such as domains, URLs, and byte size. So we think our employees are probably being targeted, but now we need to do some more investigation. The first question we may ask is, we know an email was sent, but did the employee click on the link or download something? There's a few ways we can go about starting this. We can start looking at DNS logs, proxy traffic, or maybe even connection logs. Let's pull up another saved query from our I2 saved query, a visual query that we looked at previously. Probably the easiest way to see if there was a hit on somebody opening up one of the links is to examine the DNS traffic. DNS traffic from the domains of our phishing attack will be indicative that some of our employees opened the email. This is a simple query in our repository that will go and look back at DNS records matching the domain of our traffic. In this case, media.risky.biz and risky.biz are domains that show up from our initial email query. We are telling the system here to show me any DNS logs with matching domains of media.risky.biz and risky.biz. Looks like we did find some internal DNS traffic matching our query. Examining this further, we see some internal IP addresses making a normal looking DNS request to the domain in question. We can arrange this on the chart to see that our internal IP address in the network has been communicating with the DNS server. Each of the particular queries is recorded in a Bro unique identifier to showcase the capturing of that session. In our network, we see that the IP address 192.168.1.223 has been the IP address in question communicating with the DNS server, reaching out to the domains that we searched for. We can begin by examining all different parts of these entities. We can see the IP address, the port that they're communicating on, the byte size, different sessions, and the answers. We can do this for any one of the sessions, but looking at the first particular one in question, we can get some very valuable information, such as the DNS answer or other information that can further our analysis. The most important thing we find here is the DNS response, giving us the Amazon Services server where this is being hosted, and importantly, the IP address, which is 54.231.82.66. Here you can see in the DNS answer column, I can highlight the IP address in question and understand where that particular domain is being hosted. So now we know where risky.biz and media.risky.biz are hosted, so we can use this as a pivot point to search in other log records to see the scope and scale of this possible infection. Now that we discovered an IP address hosting our potential malicious domains, let's try to find out if we can pivot off that IP address and discover what other traffic has been associated with it. In this case, we're going to do a connection query. Any source internal in our network connecting to that IP will show up in this query. So if we have any other traffic via connection logs from any particular IP address, we're going to find out. As you see in this query, we're looking for any connection traffic connected to the 54.231.82.66 IP address to see if there's any malicious traffic associated with it. Executing the query, we do in fact find that there are 3 connection sessions in our network from the original 223 IP address to the 54.231.82.66 IP address in question, which we believe to be the server hosting the malicious domains. As you can see here on the chart, we find 3 specific sessions labeled with the Bro identifier indicating the connection. Opening up some of the connections, we can see that the first one in question looks like an HTTP session on 480 with a fairly large response bytes number. This could potentially indicate a download. Now that I know this is an HTTP log, I can run essentially the same query for HTTP sessions to get some more information. Executing another saved query, I look for my HTTP sessions to find out more details about these events. Adding these to the chart, I see three identical sessions, or corresponding sessions, to the original connection sessions. Opening up some of the sessions, I find out that these were, in fact, GET requests executed from this HTTP log, and it looks like it got an MP3 file from the host, seeming to be 43 megabytes in size. So right now I can determine that there were sessions executed by traffic in my network that went to a server, possibly malicious in nature, downloading a file 43 megabytes in nature. Most importantly, what I have discovered is a unique identifier for the file itself which was downloaded. I can later use this to do searching within my network from other sources. Let's see if we could find more information about that questionable file we discovered. Let's use another saved query to see if any bro sessions can tell us about downloads from media.risky.biz, also matching the file ID that were discovered. In this saved query, we have a query set up to look for anything with a bro identifier connecting the domain in question and also connecting to the file ID in question. Now we're going to go up another level here and look for more information about the file. Here we see associated bro traffic indicating three separate sessions that may be associated with the download of this file, again to that same IP address from the malicious server that is in question. Examining these events, we can see that the file here was about 43 megabytes in size. More importantly, what we have now is an MD5 hash and a SHA-1 hash for that file. In the future, we can use this to search across our enterprise for that file using endpoint software or any type of enterprise search tool that may be able to find associated files on the machine to discover if there's any type of other infection. We could also use this to search through external items or external threat intelligence such as VirusTotal or X-Force Exchange to confirm the maliciousness or find out any new information. So we looked at what's going on the HTTP side, but there was also an encrypted series of traffic which occurred on HTTPS from the bot at evildomain.com emails. So let's run another query looking for those events of interest and see what we can discover about the encrypted traffic. While we might not be able to discover as much information as the unencrypted traffic, there may be some valuable clues there that help us understand the mystery a little better. Let's run another saved query against connection logs looking for 104.236.162.111. We know that information about that IP address from the associated DNS query we saw earlier. We got it from one of the DNS requests, what we could have pivoted on before from that bro ID, but we chose to pivot on the IP address here. Examining the query we just executed, we can see that it's a very simple query, just showing encrypted SSL sessions that are going to the 104.111 IP address. You see here as a specified value that we're searching for. We can go back to the original DNS records that we searched in the beginning of this demo to see where we got that from on one of the encrypted DNS traffic requests. As you can see here, there was a DNS answer to show us that IP address. So now we see on our chart that there are both unencrypted and encrypted sessions going to our internal .223 IP address on our chart. It looks to be that there are 6 encrypted and 6 unencrypted sections. So what can we find out about the HTTPS sessions? Looks like they were all HTTPS TLS sessions that we can understand that were encrypted. We can't find a lot of information about it, but we do know that there were SSL certs attached to these encrypted sessions. There might be valuable information about those certs that can lead us to more information about the actor or campaign that's being done against our organization. So we can execute another query that shows us what these SSL certs will look like. So loading up another query we can do for SSL certs, we're asking the question, where the domain risky.biz maps to a file identifier, show me that SSL cert. We can see several connections were made using the certificate, and we can see the serial number. We can also see the MD5 and SHA-1 hash of that cert, which we can search on later. We can see the X509 certificate, we can see the issuer, and the date not valid before and after. These are the types of things that can help you decide if this is a malicious actor or not, or items you can search in external threat intelligence platforms. So in summary, we have found that suspicious emails, probably a phishing attack sent to our employees, were probably clicked on, looked for specific DNS responses associated with that domain, pivoted off of that, found the IP address of a user or victim, saw who they were talking to in all forms of communication, discovered HTTP traffic and HTTPS traffic, confirmed the downloads of a malicious file and got those hashes. We also looked at some encrypted traffic and found that some things about the cert and SSL that we now can attribute to the potential actor or campaign. Now that we know this is a valid investigation, let's use QRadar Incident Forensics to go a step further. We can do a search or query on some of the items we located in our investigation with the original email text and discover what the original email looked like, and to confirm that it's likely a phishing attack. Here we're executing a query on the IP address of the domain in question. We could easily execute a query against the hash of a file. But here we've discovered the original email. You see the email sent to our employees and the original context that does actually look like a phishing attack containing a link. We can also view the files in question and see what they are and play them back. In this case, they were an MP3. We can pull up the original file and play it back. And we could actually send it to another team for malware analysis. We'd probably want to send it in for malware analysis because it was not seen by any of our things like intrusion detection or the SIM, making this probably a net new malware. We can pull up the file and play it to see if it's actually an MP3 file or something that's likely malicious in nature. I2 Enterprise Insight Analysis gives an analyst a unique way to discover analysts visually and put an investigation together from multiple disparate data sources. You can start to pivot off that information, ask complex questions, and get the answers. This is in contrast to a historical way of doing an investigation such as this, using raw logs and network traffic from things like Bro or any type of packet capture analyzer. Here on the screen, you see what that would look like for a historical type of investigation by an analyst. You'd have to do pivot searching very manually within this platform to start to discover what has gone on in the network. Obviously, using I2 is a much more simplistic way for any analyst to see and discover data, identify trends, and put together an investigation. Thank you, and hope you enjoyed this demo.